This became very real for my wife and I about 9 or 10 years ago. She had been on a trip to Florida to be in a wedding, and she had spent a lot of time working on the wedding, staying up late, helping her friend, and she came back. She was completely exhausted. It was late afternoon on a really hot summer day, and she said, I just want to take a nap. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to read a book. And so she rested her head on my chest, and I held a book, and I just sat there, and I was reading. And about 20 minutes into her nap, her body went completely stiff, and her eyes rolled into the back of her head, and her body tensed up so tight that she completely stopped breathing. I checked frantically. There was no breath coming out of her body, and she was completely frozen. I started shaking her and calling her name and yelling to her, and she was completely unresponsive, and her body was so rigid it was hard for me to even move her around. I had no idea what was going on. I learned later that it was a seizure, and her specific type of seizure is where the beginning phase of her seizure is a tensing up in her body, and she doesn't breathe for that entire time, and then eventually it releases, and that's when the shaking begins, and it's really, really difficult on her body. That was one of many to come after that. We prayed. We had all of our friends and family come over to the hospital room. We prayed. We said, we believe that this is a one-time thing, that this is not going to happen again, that God is going to bring healing in her life. And then it happened again, and then again. One time it was particularly serious whenever she was pregnant with our second child, our daughter, Willow. And being pregnant and having a seizure is really not a good thing. She spent a week in the hospital, and they were monitoring her closely. And I'll never forget, this neurologist came into our room. He said, I've looked at your MRIs, I've looked at your studies, I've looked at your history of seizures. He said, I'm going to put you on a medicine. It's very difficult, it's very hard on your body. And while you're on this medicine, you can't have children because it always causes birth defects. But I need to put you on this medicine. This will be your last child, and you'll be on this medicine for the rest of your life. Something rose up in me. I was saying, no, I believe in faith that that's not what is going to happen, and we are going to pray, and God is going to bring healing, and we believe that she will be healed. What kills me to this day is that she's still taking that medicine, and that was our last child that we've had. And in that moment of feeling like we had done everything right, we had cried out to him over and over, God, please bring healing. To be honest with you, I just felt like he didn't come through for us, that he didn't show up for us. I remember the day I was reading the scripture, and it's talking about the lions, they lack and they suffer, but those who love God lack nothing that is good. I go, God, are you saying that I don't either love you enough or that my wife's healing is not good? Because this is all we've ever asked. I'll never forget, God said to me, son, what's good? I was still so focused. I go, my wife's healing. That's good. That's the only thing I want. He said, no, what's good? I go, you're good. He said, that's right. He said, if what you go through brings you 1 inch closer to me, then it was good for you. And it's true. We've had to rely on God so much. We believe that at the last Pink Impact that my wife was healed, but it's not as simple as that. It's not as simple as just stopping the medicine. If I were to be taking the medicine and I've never had a seizure and I just stopped, it would probably trigger a seizure in me. And so we're trying to be wise about this, and she still takes the medicine to this day. But in that moment, I just said, God, I give up. Your will be done, not mine. And if this brings us any closer to you, then it was good. And the most important time of all of this was when my wife came to me one day. And she said, through all of this, I have gripped more tightly to the hem of his garment than ever before in my life. So I ask you today, what is good? Is it good that we get what we want all the time, or is it good that we draw closer to him, that we remember that he is a good, good Father? It's important that we as saints and believers are able to worship him no matter what our circumstances look like.